Hey everybody, Shay here for another vlog, and that's what I'm calling these right now, where I'm going to be going into My Hero Academia Volume 1. We are currently going to be working our way through Chapter 2. It's called Roaring Muscles, and I will be tentatively using the story spine to help guide me through Chapter 2, just to give me some points to talk to along the way, just a streamlined way of analyzing story structure, which is something I love to do for the things I read. I tend to do it subconsciously, but you know, this is a vlog and it's kind of a journal for myself as well, just to deconstruct manga and see how the story patterns work and how it compares with Western audience kind of sensibilities and stuff like that. So if you're new here, I am very new to manga. This is the first manga. I mean, I've read Lone Wolf and Cub. I've talked about that in old videos, but I read that a very long time ago and it was kind of flipped, I guess is what they call it. It's manga. But it's like really old manga. I had no idea how old Lone Wolf and Cub was. In 1970, I think, is what the date I saw it. I'm derailing before I've even gotten into Chapter 2. The point here is that if you're new here, I am very new to manga, and so be gentle. And this is why I'm calling these things vlogs, because it's basically me documenting my journey, if you will, reading these series that I've splurged on because I really want to get into manga. I've sort of kind of it hurts me to say this, but I'm sort of moving away from Western comics because they're just I don't know what it is, but I'm losing a connection to them. I'm having a hard time jumping in on storylines that are out there for the big two companies. I love the indie stuff. That's usually where I'll just buy stuff that's either crowdfunded or from things like Image Comics, Boom Studios, all those other like the indie presses, you know, Oni Press, IDW. I was going blank there on the other presses, but because sometimes you'll get a creator-owned work in the mix of stuff where it's like, okay, I can jump into this because it's a close story, etc., 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 right? But there's something about seeing a massive collection of volumes for manga that has compelled me to jump into this hobby, this potential fandom. I don't know yet. I'm on the journey. I do have like 50 plus books now at this point after 3 splurges on 3 series because there's so many books that you can read, and they're all let me talk about that, sure, right now. This is a vlog, damn it. Because they're cohesive. You know, there's like, it's the same creator behind the title. It's the same artist because it's the creator, generally the creator, or they got assistants and stuff like that. The cohesiveness of it all, the fact that I know I can jump into something and I see one on the spine, I see another series, I see a volume 24 of this, and I know that I'm going to be given a story that is sequential, you know, but I'm into something. It's like a soap opera, you know. I'm going to invest into something for a long period of time, and I'm going to get deep into this like setting, this world building. I mean, I'm a huge fan of world building. I'm probably those are pretty much on the same plane. Like there's like, I'm a fan of storytelling and from all over the world, like different kind of devices used culturally, etc., and through the ages, but also world building, setting development is phenomenal to me. The ability to be able to construct like casts of characters and having them all work together to kind of build the world, not only tell the story, that's super appealing to me. And so that's why I figured I'd jump in on My Hero Academia, because it was about superheroes. It is a transitionary piece for me. I'm not necessarily, I mean, I'm saying that, but I'm like, I was never a superhero comic buyer. Of course, I love superheroes, but I'm a fan of this art form, like sequential storytelling and the opportunities that can come from it. So yeah, let's break into, I was going to derail again, but let's just get into it. I'm giving these long introductions, but I mean, I'm going to try to keep this in 15 minutes. We'll see if we can do this. This is a 26-page chapter. And so with the story spine structure, it's broken down in 8. It's a very streamlined method of just finding out where you are in narrative. If you're doing analysis, obviously you don't need to do this, just enjoy the story. But this vlog is all about a mix of things. It's my opinion about things. Now I've already read this just up front. I've read this entire volume. That's kind of like but these will eventually become blind. So volume 2 onward, I will be doing first pass reads while recording like this. I'll be sharing thoughts along the way. To be honest, the episodes might get longer because I'm going to have to read and talk about things and react to things as I go. But right now I still sort of remember what this chapter is about, so I'm going to be skim reading my way through this and talking about it as I go, and hopefully that's crazy long neck, like these exaggerated things. I've derailed again, haven't I? I did. So being able to do this That's not the I mean, I don't think that's the character's design. He's not always drawn. No, he's drawn with that super long neck there too. But here's the thing. It's just another human. There's this flexibility that comes with manga that is impressive because they can do it and still it's the character, you know, it still maintains the character. Their facial reactions can completely change to support an expression they need to make in order to support the dialogue that they're saying. So in manga, it's not just about the dialogue you're reading. You're just not going beat, 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 beat. You're doing beat, visuals, beat, visuals. You're absorbing it all. I don't find that in Western comics anymore, or at least not the traditional ones, right? Like I just don't feel like that happens. You just fly through these Western books because it's great art, but you just move through it. You're like, okay, I get the panel, I get the panel, I get the panel, right? But there's different storytelling going on with the Japanese sensibility and other now artists across the world that are inspired by this Japanese sensibility. Okay, so we're going to get this first splash page here. We got the beginning. So once upon a time, and so of course once upon a time is just what's the setup, what's the premise. Once upon a time there was this hero called All Might. I'm just kind of ad-libbing at this point, but like he's a man who lives up to his name as a symbol of peace, and that man said, "You can be a hero to me." So we got the setup here. This is the idol of our protagonist Midoriya, Deku, who has just been given a flame of hope again. He's been given that spark that he can be someone. He doesn't have to be a nobody like his mom told him or made him feel like he. Even though he fought it, and then All Might told him, "No, just you can be a hero, but just be a cop, be a normal hero. Don't be a superhero." And then he does something super heroic, and it inspires All Might to kind of say, "All right, you know what? I'm gonna reveal my true self to you." Which is this lean form. I have to check because that neck, as far as I can remember, I know he has a pretty long neck. That is, yeah, no, that's his design. I love it, but it's like it's super exaggerated here. But it's fine. Let's go with it. Feels right. So he's weeping he's crying his eyeballs out here because it's like he that hope is making him these tears of happiness, of course, right? They'll do this so the characters that get introduced. So number one hero, All Might, his true form. So it's all I ever wanted to hear from anyone. So Deku, I mean, he's saying it right here. You know, we kind of got that from the first book, first chapter. But he's saying here, he's basically lived his life kind of carrying this weight that was reinforced by his mother. That he had to be a nobody, that he couldn't be anything better. But let's move on. But once upon a time, there was this hero Deku. And he idolized this number one hero, All Might, the muscle form. But he gets to know that All Might is more than just a muscle form that always enters and leaves scenes with a smile. He has his true form, which is this frail being who is a nobody with the power within, right in there, right in the pupil of the eyes, as we learned with the bonus content. That's just, it's right there, the power, right in the little pupil. Okay, let's move on. And so, once upon a time. And so every day, all Deku wanted was to be a hero, and for anyone to say that he could be a hero. He's not even like, it's not even that he could be a superhero, just a hero, I guess. So moving on. And so anything more, I believe you're worthy of inheriting my power. So boom, there's in the first 3 pages, we're going to get the setup here, which is moving things along. It's going to give us a theme of what this next chapter should be about. This declaration that Deku is worthy of inheriting the power. And what is that story going to be? So every day now, we're still getting, he's kind of like, he's being told you can be given the power, and he's like, but what do you mean? What do you mean his power? Like, he's in denial because he's still carrying some of that stuff that was baked into him, But, he's obviously in pain. He can't really, he needs to pass along the power because he can't do it alone anymore, The tabloids like to guess that it's super strength or boost power. And I avoid the question in interviews by making jokes because All Might, the symbol of peace, has to come off as a natural-born hero. So he doesn't want to be seen as a normal person, He doesn't want to have his frail form in the public. He wants to be seen as this symbol because this becomes a symbol, not just a character with these perceived defined abilities. They did it again with the word, making up the word balloon here, the line of it. That's a very creative take. We get another one of those expressions that is great in manga. The squiggly eyes, you know, just the confusion. Like he's spinning right now. His world is spinning with all of this. Like it's a lot to absorb, you know. But my quirk, it was passed down to me like the Olympic torch. Well, I like the whole flame symbology there, right? The passing the torch, but also, like I just said it in the previous page, you know, like he's being ignited here, you know, the spark of hope again, of like believing in himself, that he can be more. He believed already in himself, but now he's being given that spark, you know, that now he's gonna do it. So hold on a second, and so he just starts rambling on all these things about. So naturally, I have no idea what he means. So he's second guessing himself here, you know, because that's how he was bred to be. It's unfortunate, but it's mom's fault. Do you really doubt me that much? Nonsense. No. I have many secrets, but I never lie. I have the ability to transfer power. That's the quirk I inherited. It's called One for All. One for All? And so he starts talking about how this works. A crystalline network of power. But all this, why? Why me? And of course, because, you know, you prove that you can be a hero. You have that impulse to move forward when no one else did. And that's what this symbol needs to represent. And so, of course, he's like tears of happiness again. And so we still have the everyday feeling here from the story spine, as every day he believed like he wanted to be more and he could be more, right? So we still have that kind of carrying through here in the second chapter. So, of course, he says, yes, I accept. I have no reason to refuse. So this is our the event. But one day, Midoriya accepts because he has no reason to refuse. Grin. A quick answer. I expected nothing less, because of course he was propelled into action without thinking, and so if he just is he has the spirit of the hero. He's just gonna, of course, he's gonna accept it away. And then we have 2 days later, 6 a.m. But receiving that power, and now we have, what does this all mean, right? So we're gonna enter the middle of the tale now, because this is a 26-page story. If we break this down into the ratios, every 6 or 7 pages, we're going to be going through a quarter of this structure. So the first quarter is Act 1 going into Act 2, 2 times the length of Act 1 and Act 3. And so we're going to enter Act 2 here with this declaration here. Boom. And now it's going to be, okay, what's the journey? What's the adventure that our protagonist is going to go on? Well, hella training. That's what you're about to do. You're about to wreck yourself before you flex yourself. Okay. I don't know where. Okay. So he's in a junkyard here. I do remember some of this, so I'm kind of flying by the seats in my pants just to kind of keep these lean. I'm looking at the time, and I can't shut up, and so we're only in Act 1. So this is going to be a long one again. That's okay. It's okay. I can do this in I can come back tomorrow. Okay, so, and of course, All Might is just, he's laughing his ass off because, of course, he knows this is going to be hella taxing, you know? But he needs to do this, and the point here, and let's go through some of this, because now he's setting up the rules. This is a story, and this is even like if we were talking about the ratio of the volume itself as a story arc, and structurally, you know, this feels like an Act 1. The chapter 1 is effectively all of Act 1, if you're going to think about this relative to the entire story here, right? And so now we're in the Act 2 phase of the volume, okay? And so if I'm thinking about the Act 2 phase of the volume here, I'm thinking about this is where we're going to get the all of the B story plots. So all of the setup, all of the rules of the setting of the world you're going to be immersing yourself into, the rules of the characters, how they work, right? We got a little bit of that up front here. We're going to get all the relationship building. He's going to meet some new people. We're going to get some academy stuff, and not just in this chapter, but we'll likely get to it. But he'll, you know, being part of the academy, other new characters get introduced. All that's going to happen in Act 2, right? So this is like the middle section of this book. I like to modularize that even further because, of course, all of these chapters are released as a unit, and they also have to tell the story. They have to grip the audience to want to come back to however they're getting this. In the magazine that these get compiled into, whether they get these as the weekly launches in Shonen Jump, things like that, and then compiled into a volume. But every kind of release needs to be captivating so that you keep pulling that reader back. And there's a very strong meritocracy behind all of the manga that exists, and why it exists and why it persists. It sells. If it sells, it keeps going, you know? And so that's the driving force behind here. So we have the rules here. My quirk, One for All, binds the physical strength of many people into one. Your limp noodle body isn't ready for it. Your limbs would pop right off. My lambs! Okay, so I'm here to train your body. I did some research yesterday. This beach, well, this one section has been like this for years. So he's going to do something altruistic even in training. Yeah, something about the currents. Lots of stuff drift ashore. Ooh, I wonder if that's going to turn into something. Don't spoil me. And people also dump their garbage here, even though they shouldn't. And so it's giving you the setup. Okay, there's a bunch of garbage on this beach, and we're still kind of in the setup of like, okay, we're probably going to spend the entire chapter here, right? Like, we're going to clean up this because there's a lot of garbage here. I mean, this is massive. I think there's like, it shows right here. You're not going to see it because it's blurry. I'm sorry. But you see the little map there, and it's like there's like a skull, and there's like 3 circles along this coastal region. But you're like, that looks like a lot. That looks like a lot of mess that needs to get cleared up. And so here we go. We're going to get into, he's going to, of course, show off his skills, his super strength here. He's just going to crush this piece of, I guess, metal, smush it. He's going to do a smash thing here to like clear the debris. I mean, did he really help? Not really, because all that scattered debris is still going to have to get picked up at some point. But he's just creating a clearing. So we're going to start here. We created a clearing, and now we're going to start doing this. My first step is cleaning up all this. Kid, Midoriya, you want to get into UA, right? And so he's just reminding him, because this is the whole like denial of the hero in the journey. They even did it here. You can kind of see it here, because he's the denial or the doubt of like the next step he has to take in order to achieve that catalyst moment that's going to take him into the next phase, which is the third act 3 of this chapter. This is the setup for the story. You're going to clean this, and you're going to be, your hero cred is going to be achieved once you get over that hurdle. And I had to count the pages right now because I felt like this was at the midpoint, and we're at page 12. So 12, I think 11, 12 here, or 13, 14. And so the middle of the story spine is 3 because of that. So because he's been given he's going to inherit All Might's power. Because of that, he has to train his body, right? Because of that, he has to clear this entire beach if he wants to survive, I guess, using the powers. And then we're going to get another because of that, and I need to remind myself what that is. All Might creates this list of everything he has to do in life, including his sleep. Like, you've even planned my sleep. To be frank, this will be super tough. Can you do it? Well, yeah. So optimistic Deku is ready to go. I know I have to work way harder than anyone else to make it. Of course you do, Deku. You're like all of us, wanting to be heroes. Reading comics, looking up to her. Okay, so began the 10 hellish months. So this is 10 months of training. So theoretically, they're gonna speed through a lot of this setup, because of course the whole point of Deku and the story is he wants to get into the academy, right? So this is his training. He's got 10 months to do it, and he's going to inherit enough superpowers to kind of just get him by. He's going to have to be able to keep his body together, essentially, if he uses the power, which that's a story for another day. Now, there's a lot of reading here. I need to catch up. They're doing it again with the whisper. We do have the next because of that. So because of him having to work harder, he has to basically optimize even his studying. He knows he has to work harder here to like just get into the entrance exam. And then they only spend a page just to remind you he's still kind of working his way through school to then graduate into the next into the UA, right? But then right away we have a splash page here that's not even, they don't even need words. It's just going to show him basically going through this regiment, him pushing a tire, he's home, he's eating, when he can study and work, when he can sleep, and is he actually puking? He might be puking there. Is he puking? Okay, I'm pretty sure he's puking there because of exhaustion or whatever is going on there. But he's working his ass off here. Oh, he's definitely cleaning his mouth. He's definitely puked. So he's definitely overworking. It could be the heat. Okay, the blazing sun there. Again, there's no words here, but you kind of I love his head here too. I'm going all over the place. Sorry, folks. But like, you see what I mean about the art style? It's just like, it's comical. It's funny. It gets the point across. You move on, and it's the expressions, like every one of these panels tells a story without words in a way that I feel like Western comics do not achieve. And it's all because of the art style's flexibility. That's it. Which, how do you translate that into Western comics? Well, you don't. It's a differentiator. It's a way of telling stories in a different art style that it needs to become something else. Like maybe 10 years from now, because this gets massive in North America and Europe, etc., etc., etc. And I know it's happening in France already, and Germany and stuff like that. I've read into some of those. There's American manga. I don't know. There's influences obviously happening at this point, and I do think it's. I mean, it's seen in animation for sure, right? The whole Cal art style, the simplification of form and expression, and stuff like that, which isn't for everybody, but there's something beneficial in taking that approach. You know, you do get a lot more range. I know it's not for everybody, but especially like the younger you are, you hook into these simplified expressions a lot easier. This is why all the like children cartoons are simplified forms. But then that evolves over time, and I've talked about the smiley face, right? The simplified smiley. The reason why that symbol is so important is because it conveys an expression in very few lines. Anyways. I'm derailing. Okay, so let's move on. So he's still training, and yeah, he's getting so exhausted that he actually like collapses right here in this scene. So, hey, what's wrong? Only 3 more months. You're not gonna make it. You want to quit? Want to take a break today? It's not really a smirk, but I feel like it sort of is. And he does have like a. I mean, I don't know if he screams so loud that blood came out of his mouth or whatever the hell, but like that's possible. Is he overworked? So that's him, I guess, him thinking, right? Is he overworked? And there's no bubble here, but you kind of just assume you connect it, you know, and because he's still, he won't give up. I love that about Deku. And then, made past the test, American Dream Plan. I designed it based on what you need to do with your body specifically to make it before the exam date, but you haven't stuck to the plan. So he's getting like a grilling right now. From All Might. I mean, sometimes you need it. You need a grilling, you know. You need to get roasted. Overdoing it's no good either. Don't you want to pass? I do, but I don't want to just pass. I have to work harder than anyone else to make it. I'll never catch up otherwise. I want to be like you. Crawl like you, the strongest hero. Like this is. Will, man, the will, like I mean, everything is saying you need to stop, you know, but fuck that, you know. not for Deku, hell no. So this is us hitting the climax right now, because it's a because of that, like because of that he keeps training, and he won't give up because of that, even when he feels like he can't go on, because of that, the third because of that, not willing to give up, because of that, he needs to keep going and be like his idol, the strongest hero. And so he's going to get his ass up, and he's going to trigger the climax. So we're going to go into Act 3 here, the climax here. Okay, that was it. I forgot what the moment was. It's that his body, he's like, dude, you're going to kill yourself. But nay, sir. I see he's got his eye on the far future. So even though he's in pain and he's struggling right now, he's aiming for that. You know, he knows he can't today, but he knows that he's aiming for that tomorrow. And so that's the Deku spirit right there. So you blind fanboy, such dumb zeal. That's exactly what I like to hear. So that's even made the weak form of All Might go to All Might mode. And we saw blood come out of his mouth, so he's obviously in a weak state right now. But he's going to transform because he's inspiring All Might. You know what I mean? This is it. These two are bound to be together. So I get where you're coming from, but this is no time to panic. This old man will modify the plan for you. You're not an old man, All Might. So it went. And then we have exam. Day. 6 a.m. Boom, boom. I mean, fucking ripped. Okay, I'm going to start bombing some words here. Sorry about that, but I guess that's where we're going with this. So, I mean, he's still lean. He's a little lean dude, but if you recall, you know, I mean, we go straight to the first page, which is, this might be going too far, but we got like puny little Deku child there, right? I mean, we can't see that he's scrawny Deku, but he's a tiny dude. Like he's a relatively small individual, but he's lean, he's a little bit scrawny. I mean, his arms are thin as hell, you know. And then we have like, he's actually got definition and form in a blurry camera. I'm sorry, everybody. But like, you know, he's ready to go. He's ready to go for his exam. So until finally, you know, he sees results, right? Until finally there are results. I believe we were at the 3-month mark. So in the 3-month mark, All Might changes the plan, the schedule, so that it works to sort of not have him pass out, because that doesn't help either of them, you know. But he gets him at least into possibly the minimal shape possible, necessary. Look at Deku, rip right now, good to go. Good Lord. So, and then there's just some reminders there. So what's this, right? And then he's showing a picture. It's you 10 months ago. Whoosh. Excellent work. Truly. The path forward is ever so slightly clearer. But you're a true blue vessel now. Feels like I cheated, though. So we're going to get the denial again, just slightly creeping in. He's a little hard on himself, you know. It has to come in. It's on the page turn again, because then you're going, well, how does this going to end? Because then the end, of course, is, and ever since then. So we need an ever since then. We got a, until finally he's seen results. And ever since then, and now we're going to get, you know, again, the rule here of how all this works, just to bring back what the rules are of the setting and the characters. Getting all this help from you, All Might. I've been blessed. So he's thankful. He's got that. He's the hero spirit, man, all through and through. He's wrong. This is because of his own efforts. So he's saying that to himself. But you gotta quit being a crybaby. Anyway, time for the award ceremony, Izuku Midoriya. Okay. You know, they say there's a big difference between being born with that silver spoon and working your butt off to earn it. Take this to heart, kid. You've earned this power, fair and square. Clench. Determination. That's the symbol of determination right there. The clenched fist at your side. It's like a twist right out of a comic book. Within my reach. Eat this. Durr. It's not a piece of hair, by the way, if you're wondering what All Might is holding up. So it's like it carries the DNA, and the DNA needs to transfer to a new form. So really, doesn't matter what it is you eat, as long as you get my DNA. Now hurry. Not exactly how I thought this would go. And ever since then, he has confidence in himself. And it was all with in my opinion, clenched fist is a symbol of that. And ever since then, he finally had confidence in himself because he felt like he got this power fair and square. And he's going to be a true hero. And that's it. And then we have the bonus page here. Street clothes, Izuku Midoriya, our hero, Deku. So we have, I really need to look up a conversion of this 166. In that case, you can Google it yourselves. So 166 centimeters. And then we have favorite thing, Katsudon. This guy started out in a one-shot that didn't end up getting serialized, but I felt like using him again. So he's largely unchanged. He may look a little plain for a protagonist, but when I tried covering one eye with a lock of hair, all I could think was, get a damn haircut. So I kept him plain. I honestly think that the plainer he looks, the better. I agree. Because you get that ordinary hero that becomes something more, you know? And that contrast really helps tell the story of Deku. Because you have this idea of transferring your identity to the things you read and look up to. And sometimes the things you look up to are heroes in comic books, which is a great parallel that goes on with the story here, right? Because he's literally looking up to a hero who's a comic book hero, but this is a comic about comic book heroes. Right? There's like a lot of great meta layers and commentary about the tropes and just the kind of patterns that exist in the hobby itself. And I think that's kind of an amusing thing to add to the setting, to the world building. But we have Deku here, who's basically a representation of, the target audience, Shogun, of young teenage boys who look up to these heroes who are fictional heroes. They get to become All Might, or have the power of All Might, or fantasize about what it'd be like to be this kind of ordinary kid who works really hard, becomes something great, at least relative to what he started as. And I love that they actually do this as what he started as, because they remind you, this is where you were, right? This is what you became. And so this isn't just for Deku in this story, but this becomes again a commentary by proxy that I was talking about, where a young kid reading this, and if they transpose themselves onto a character like Deku, they can see themselves in this moment, you know, where maybe they were bullied, maybe they were scrawny, maybe they were weak, maybe they were like bad at something, maybe they kept being told, especially by their moms or family, that they could be nobody, that they were a nobody, that they couldn't be anybody because they were nobody. Not in those words. But sometimes it feels like that way, you know. But it's that they could come out of that if they work really hard at something. Not necessarily cleaning up 3 beaches full of trash, but that they could, with hard work, achieve greatness. And that becomes a story about themselves. Maybe one day, if they work really hard. Anyway, so that's chapter 2 of My Hero Academia. Look, at this point, I don't know why, but chapter 3 and beyond, I remember moments, but I'm legit, like now I'm really starting to forget. For some reason, I remember these first two stories because I love the trash scene. I love how simple it was. That chapter 2 of just clean this beach, but in the cleaning of the beach, you get all of this story about the character's development, and it's not about the beach clean, right? So it was good because it could have been boring and it could have been bland and it could have been kind of a nothing chapter, but it was vital. It was vital for the transformation of Midoriya into where he needs to go next, which is, again, he's trying to get into the UA, right? Which I forget what that stands for. University of... I forget what that stands for. We'll find out. I'm sure we'll find out. It'll be somewhere. It'll be somewhere in the next, probably chapter 3, actually, because he's about to, we're going to get introduced to a bunch of characters in the next chapter. I do recall that. And of course, it being still deep into this chapter 2 that I was talking about, that this, the 50% of this book in the middle right here is that it's going to be about introducing the new characters and getting to learn more about the setting and stuff, which in that particular arc, it's going to be about learning about how the school works, how the characters work, how the exams work. I do remember like kind of a danger roomy scenario. And again, these are not blind right now for volume 1. Just a reminder in case you're skipping things. I just want to keep reminding people. But eventually they will be first read-throughs so that you're getting the reaction along the way. I know I keep repeating myself, but sometimes people miss things or are skipping ahead and they miss the kind of callouts. I might have cut through a bunch of stuff, but it looks like that might be the standard because I ramble on about things. There's stuff to talk about, you know, and I don't mind doing that because it's I mean, it's a lot of fun to kind of trigger those thoughts. It's not live, you know, but trigger those thoughts in a format where it just allows conversations to happen and people to maybe see things differently. You might be a long time reader of this. You've read this years ago. And hopefully by watching these and me go through them and kind of with my sensibilities, my biases from my love of deconstruction, of narrative in particular, things like that, symbolism, pacing. And it's going to kind of surface a lot of different thoughts about the story and yeah, it'll become fresh for you once again, especially if you read it yourself. So I look forward to the next chapter. I'll catch you there. Don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire, buddy.